going to talk about the Australian television special on the Markles and their coming together, Thomas Markle Sr. and Samantha and Thomas Jr., and get into this special and give my point of view on what I thought about the special. Now, first off, I just want to say, like I said before, why is American media not picking up on this? And you have to look at the fact that Meghan has got her hands all up in the PR in America. You're not going to get information that's going to challenge everything that Meghan is doing in America, because she knows she has a different market here, and she's got her whole PR agency and her talent agency, and like she's trying to come up with a bunch of conundrums here in the States to, well, not, the word isn't conundrum. She's trying to come up with a bunch of different ways to attack the American media with her propaganda, essentially. And historically speaking, what Meghan is doing now is unprecedented. It's like nothing we've ever seen in royalty. Now, I was watching this documentary about Wallis Simpson and King Edward, and the similarities with how the woman that was in love or supposedly in love with King Edward, how she was really conniving too. Like these American women, they have this fantasy, or these American women, not all, because we know there are some Americans that have done it right. But you look at these two in particular and how the HRH was so important to Wallis Simpson. She wanted to be recognized and she wanted to have that status of royalty. Like that was everything. And you have to be somewhat skeptical of any woman that is putting such importance on a title, on what being married to someone in the monarchy. When they put so much importance on their status, that's not a relationship that is about love. And so as we speak, as we watch the news with all the things that are coming out with Meghan, it is of historic proportions. It's like history making every single day, because it's like, I can't believe this woman is doing what she is doing in this royal family within Europe, but yet here in America, we are not seeing it that way. We're not seeing all of her conniving. And this being in an Australian news agency, once again, that has done this special on the Markles, is one thing. And then you had the French investigators who dug deep into the charity work of Meghan and how they were able to uncover some mistruths and information. Like, what is the power structure that is so aligned with Meghan right now that there's none of this being really hitting the airways in America? Like, that for me is the overarching question. Why is it so different here in the States, considering she's American? She's living now in America now. The prince is now living in America. What is it about the mainstream American media that is not picking up on this family dynamic with Mr. Markle and the siblings? That bothers me, because this is where she is getting her footing. And without the checks and balance within the American media, she is going to continue doing what she's doing unchecked. But it has to hit the American people when they're in their everyday catching television, seeing the news, like, oh, Mr. Markle, look what she did to her father. That has to be on the American news agencies. This needs to be saturating the American market. Why is it not? So I just wanted to look at what this special was. I really did enjoy it. I really liked how they took the conversation pieces from when Meghan spoke in her Netflix documentary and Harry's book, how they took their own words and they interwove it into the conversation with the Markles. And when I say the Markles, I'm talking about, of course, Senior Markle, Samantha, and Thomas Jr. But even further than that, I would have liked to have seen even more of the family from the Markles, to be quite honest with you. And if the people within her family expose her lies, the illusion of what people think of her is gone. And also, I believe she's just a hateful kind of a person where she hates on her half siblings. And she's embarrassed by her family being middle class people that are not of the elite. There's this whole component that for her is embarrassing. And she can't have her whole fairy tale be what her fairy tale is in her head. Because her family be like, that's not true. What you talking? That's not true. So in the special, he says, suddenly he was thrown out after being a hero to his daughter. He made a desperate plea to mend their broken relationship in this bombshell interview. He told Australian TV's Channel 7 in the interview that he used to be her hero, but it suddenly all went wrong. In a desperate attempt to reconnect, Mr. Markle said, she loved me, I'm her hero, and suddenly I was thrown out. Speaking about this and why what Meghan is doing is getting so much headway in news and people are talking about it, because it's like the audacity to do this on a world stage, to treat your family like this, but at the same time, gloat about being a humanitarian, helping people and doing good, and I'm a princess. And I'm going to do good by the people of the world. Yes. And your family you treat like trash. Like no one's ever done this before. It's like, don't you know we can see you? Like we see how you are treating your father. Like we can watch shows in another country. Those of us that really want to watch it, we can see it. And so this is why it's so unprecedented. It's like the audacity of this woman to come out and just do it right in front of our face. And people are just like, okay, but I like her. And it's like, no, you don't put up with this. You don't allow this kind of behavior. And the one thing that Mr. Markle could do to make it right with his daughter, where she will speak to him again and she would have a relationship with him, is if he got rid of his children from his first marriage. If he essentially disowned his children. That's the only way Meghan would speak to him. She said it. You have to stop acknowledging that you have children by another woman and consider me your only child. And then I will reconnect and I will be your daughter again. It's wrong for her to even ask him to do that. There's something so wrong with the woman that wants to just dispose of people, but yet go out and help people like a humanitarian. Samantha went on to say that Harry and Meghan are in a codependent and toxic relationship, and that is key. They are in a codependent, toxic relationship that is, before the whole world, going to implode. This relationship is going to implode. And imagine when it implodes and Harry is going through the problem that he is going to eventually have with his marriage, what that's going to do to him. And Meghan is going to not even flinch. She's going to just keep it moving. And he is the one that is going to be so damaged from it that we're going to all see it happen. So, you know, the videos that we had never seen before, I thought that was interesting. And I think there's even more that they have not released that we haven't seen. There's a few things that we saw where Meghan had relationships with her half siblings, but yet she gonna tell us that she ain't got siblings. It's like the lies of this woman that are so blatant. It's almost as if, you know, you taking us for fools. This is what is key. From the time Meghan was in 6th grade till she got out of college, she lived with her father. Now ask yourself this. If Meghan says she does not have siblings, then what was the relationship like with Mr. Markle and his other 2 children when Meghan was living with her father that whole time? Oh, so she had no idea that Mr. Markle had other children when she's living full-time with her dad from 6th grade all the way up to college? His other children are just gone, not talked about, not seen. So that right there is showing you that this woman had a relationship with her half siblings because she was living with her father full-time, who, mind you, was having a relationship with his other children as well. So how can you be living with your dad full-time and not ever see his other children? That's impossible. And what was so touching for me is when Samantha saw her dad for the first time in many years. Like, that was so poignant for me. It put tears in my eyes just to see that relationship come together. It's like the humanity. Where's the humanity for Meghan to even have a relationship with your father that is just a basic loving relationship that you would think would be natural? And she can't even have that. And to see Samantha be moved by seeing her father, Mr. Markle, being touched by seeing his daughter, although they talk on the phone, seeing each other, there was just something very bonding and special about that. And I know we have our issues in our families. People are flawed, but there is nothing so bad that Meghan has to make her half siblings seem like they are monsters, that you can't even have a relationship with them for the sake of just having a relationship with your father, who was your hero. You gloated over your father. You didn't do this with Doria. You were doing this with your father. And now your father is suddenly the enemy. And here's where the biggest problem lies. The biggest problem lies with Doria and Harry, because Doria is the main culprit here. She is the problem. She should be the one talking to her daughter about how she is treating her father. Doria has not put her foot down to make this right. You know why? Because the money is too important for her. The financial gain that she's getting from Meghan is too important. Not the relationship, not the humanity that Meghan should be showing her father, the decency of that. She's not doing it. And I put the onus on Doria, because Thomas and Doria have always had a very close relationship, even after their divorce. And Doria has helped to fuel this relationship in its coming apart. And why do you think that is? Well, I can tell you why. It's because of these two children that are her stepchildren that she doesn't want anything to do with. The reason is because Doria doesn't want anything to do with the stepchildren. And this has made it so that Meghan can not be with her half siblings, because Doria is in the middle of that, because she's the one hating. She is the one saying, stay away. We don't want to be with them. Because there's many stories about when they were as a family living together and how Doria and Meghan would always make it out to be them three. Thomas and Samantha were always left out. All we need to do is go back to the film Imitation of Life. Imitation of Life. I don't know anybody that has seen that movie and was not moved. We are watching the real life imitation of life. The storyline with the young girl who was ashamed of her black mama, except we have the same situation of a black girl or a girl of color who is ashamed of her white middle class family. Ashamed. This is a woman who is being so ugly and disgusting on the world stage that it's not even possible that this is even real. How do you behave like this? We've all seen the stories. We all know the things that the Markles are saying and how they're moving on with their lives and how they need to speak out. It's important for them to speak out, because you cannot allow someone like a Meghan to walk in a world of fairy tales and to try to blindly lead people to being this great person when you have done such horrible things to people who are real people with real emotions and real physical ailments that she, mind you, is the cause of. This is a woman that needs to have her checks and balances checked. We got to check you, because you don't walk in grace as a humanitarian and treat people this way. That is not okay to do. And this is what happens is when we have young girls coming up who are looking to role models like a Meghan Markle, and they see her treat people, ghost them, write them off, consider her father dead, like she's essentially killed her own father. She said this. This is how she is looking at it, like her father is dead. No, your father is very much still alive, Meghan Markle. And you cannot try to tell people that your father is gone, that you've lost your father. No, we see the interview. We saw him speak. He is still very much alive. And you need to be ashamed of yourself for trying to make people think you've lost your father. Girl, you have got some serious issues. You cannot try to reckon this to be the truth, because we ain't fools. We are not fools. We understand what is happening. And you cannot try to be something that you are not, because you are being checked in real time by the family that got you to where you are today. You need to own up, be a better person, and do the right thing. But she won't do it. We know she won't do it because she has got more important things that really are meaningless. In the big scheme of things, they're really meaningless. And she needs to see that this is something that is priceless. Your relationship with your father. And I don't care what sibling rivalries or issues you've had with your family. You don't treat people like this on a world stage. If they've done something wrong, then you come out and you call it off and you say, look, that is wrong. Don't treat my father like this. But she can't do it because this is the shallowness of this woman. Shallow, no emotion, no depth of feeling for the real things that matter in life. And we are not going to be hoodwinked for a woman saying she is a fairy princess, a princess who is out to do good in the world, when we can see in real time how she treats her real family. We ain't falling for it. Sorry. We are not the ones. So all in all, this interview, I felt like it was really good. I wish we could have more context around other family members to really get the feel for what Meghan has done, the gravity of it all. But all in all, it was great to see Mr. Markle. It is sad to see that he's suffering from the side effects of a stroke with a slurred speech, but it just breaks my heart. He's suffering like this in his ill health for a daughter who is so shallow and heartless. It makes me sad, but at the same time, I'm very happy that Thomas Jr. and Samantha are stepping up. They're there for their father, and they are taking on the responsibility of what children do when they have an ailing parent. Samantha in her own right is disabled, and for Meghan to even, have a sister with a disability to try to just disown people like you don't matter, you don't exist, I don't know you. That's so cold and senseless and just heartless. I can't stand people that treat people like this and try to gloat like you're such a good helping the world type of a person. It's like, are you serious, woman? Are you serious? We cannot ignore it. The fact is, Meghan is so cold and trying to hoodwink the world with her lies. It's despicable. It really is disgustingly ugly.